Running more doesn't automatically make you faster. And if you've been training consistently, maybe even more than before, but your pace isn't shifting the way you expected, this episode is for you. Because this isn't about effort and it's definitely not about laziness. It's about understanding what actually drives progress and why more miles or kilometres isn't always the answer. Now, before we begin, I want to quickly introduce myself, especially if this is your first time listening. My name is Gillian, or Coach G. I'm a running mindset coach and the host of Your Running Coach with GMacSpurr. I work with runners who already know how to run, but get stuck in their heads. Overthinking, second-guessing, sabotaging, and putting pressure on themselves that quietly steals the joy from running. And a big part of my work is helping runners reconnect with trust in their bodies, in their decisions, and in themselves as runners. Give the podcast a follow so you don't miss an episode. Runners are Googling things like, why am I running a lot but not getting faster? Why does my pace feel harder even though I run more? Why am I fitter but still stuck? Am I overtraining or underperforming? And most of the answers online jump straight to do more speed work, push harder, add more mileage, those kind of responses. But for a lot of runners, especially experienced ones, that advice often backfires. I want to tell you about a runner I've worked with. We'll call her Becky. When Becky came to me, she was very committed. She ran 5 times a week, did strength training, rarely missed training. On paper, she was doing everything right. But she came to me frustrated. She said, I'm working harder than ever, so why do I feel like I'm getting slower? What more can I do to get a 3:20 marathon? Here's the belief Becky was holding, that if I just do more, progress will come. And that belief is everywhere in the online world, from fitness to starting a business. For Becky, she was thinking more miles, more fast running, more. But progress doesn't always come from doing more. It comes from absorbing what you're doing. Here's the thing most runners often miss. Your body doesn't separate training stress, work stress, life stress. It all goes in the same bucket. So if you increase mileage, add intensity, skip recovery, underfuel, sleep poorly, your system doesn't adapt. It protects you as it's meant to do. And that protection can then look like slower pace, higher heart rate, heavier legs, and reduced motivation. Not because you're failing, but because your body is overloaded. This is where runners can get confused. They think, if I'm slower, I need to push more, I need to do more, and I'll get there eventually. I'm not sure, for a few that may get them where they want to be temporarily, but at cost, because you're probably miserable and hating running. But often the opposite is true. When cumulative fatigue builds, your nervous system stays on high alert, perceived effort increases, coordination drops, confidence erodes. So even though you may be technically fitter, running feels harder. That's why runners who've been running 2 to 5 times a week for years may feel like they know running, that they are running fit, but don't feel as fast as they should be. This isn't just physical. Training more also increases decision fatigue, performance pressure, self-judgment. Every run becomes something to execute instead of experience. And that mental load matters. A tired mind cannot access speed the same way as a fresh one can. When Becky realised that more effort wasn't the lever, clarity was, we shifted things, fewer sessions, clearer intent, more recovery, and within weeks, her pace came back without forcing it. In fact, she was doing less. Not because she trained less, but because she trained smarter and calmer. Here are the reframes I want you to take away. Progress isn't linear. More work does not equal more gain, especially if you're a runner over 40. Adaptation happens in recovery. You don't get faster during the run, you get faster when the body feels safe enough to adapt. And pace improves when pressure reduces. Confidence and relaxation are performance tools. Here's some questions to ask yourself. Instead of asking, am I doing enough? Try asking, am I recovering enough? Am I fueled enough? Am I training with clarity or chaos? Do my runs energize me or drain me? Answering these questions could change everything about how you see your training. So here comes the point in the podcast where we do some journal prompts. If you're new around here, grab yourself some pen and paper or use the Notes app on your phone. We've got 4 journal prompts for you today. I want just to remind you that being honest with these answers is where you'll get results. So don't come in with judgment. Come in with an open mind and willingness to see what is there. So the first question is, where have I equated effort with worth? Second one is, what am I afraid will happen if I do less? Number 3, how do I define progress outside of pace? And number 4, what would sustainable improvement look like for me? And remember, you don't need to prove anything to your training plan. Strong runners aren't the ones who do the most. They're the ones who know when to pull back, recalibrate, and trust the process. That's leadership, maturity, mastery. If this way of understanding running resonates, if you're listening and thinking, yep, this is the layer I've never been taught, but it's exactly what I need, that's the work we do inside the Runner Identity Project, or lovingly called TRIP. TRIP is for runners who train consistently, have high standards, and want their running to feel aligned and confident and powerful again. We work on identity, emotional regulation, mindset strategy, and creating a running life that supports your whole life. If you want to explore what 3 months of TRIP can do for you, send me a message. Details are in the show notes. If training more hasn't made you faster, maybe it's time to stop adding and start listening. Thank you for being here. See you next week. Happy running. Bye for now.